a couple of moose set up for you there. Roger was tasting moose from MOJO Desserts in East Harlem last hour. We have samples in front of us here. We've got a few different flavors. MOJO's run by a chef who learned how to make mousse in Belgium, so he must know what he's doing.
I wasn't sure if in the cup it almost looks like a yogurt, if it was going to have the same texture, and it is still lovely.
Oh, you already tried it?
I had one little tiny bite. It is just as fluffy and wonderful.
Oh, yeah. I had the hazelnut.
Roger, give us the score here while we give it a try.
Oh yeah, I mean it's you know, Johan is from Belgium. He's been making the mousse since he was 8 years old. 8 years old. His grandfather Joseph had a bakery in Old Antwerp, and he taught him his recipe, and then the rest is history. But how it all started, Johan, this is great. So you came to America 11 years ago from Belgium. You're working for the Belgian ambassador to the United Nations. You're cooking for all these diplomats, making these state dinners, but you also make dessert. Absolutely. And it was mousse.
Yes. So it's Belgian chocolate mousse, and so I cooked a lot of desserts for the Belgian ambassador, but one dessert is a dessert that people always wanted, is Belgian chocolate mousse, and we went to New York and the USA to have a real good chocolate mousse.
So you got so many requests for it, you're like, we should sell this stuff. And you did. It's in 300 retail stores. But then you guys both lived here in East Harlem, and you decided, let's open a shop in the neighborhood. You opened this place, MOJO Desserts, officially a couple of years ago, right before the pandemic. But thank God you still got it.
Yes, so this was one of the ideas of my wife, and so she's the one who actually can better explain how the concept started.
Yeah, let's get Jackie over here, Jackie Quiros, who's from Brazil, and this is a fun place because this side of the place is Belgium, and then you go into the next room and then you
go to Brazil. Yeah. So here on 100th Street, you can have both worlds, Belgium and Brazil. But Brazil with Belgian beers, that was one of the deals I had to compromise in opening a cocktail bar. Only Belgian beers allowed.
But talk about going back in time, and when you first said to your husband, listen, you really make good mousse. We should sell this stuff.
Yeah. So he was always like, people always commenting and say, oh, his mousse is really good. It's really good. And he was like, I don't understand. Like, this is mousse. I make this my entire life. I eat this my entire life. But people were like, oh my gosh, this is really good. So he started to realize that dessert he was so used to growing up, it was very special in America than to everyone that tried, because he used very good Belgian chocolate, very simple ingredients, premium, and people just love it. And we were doing a lot of street fairs, dessert fairs, and catering orders, and people always asking, where can I go buy mousse? Where can I go try different flavors? And it was during one of the dessert fairs that we were doing, and we were like, we wanted to open a shop, but then the idea of a mousse bar where people would come and try different flavors, where he would be creative as a chef, like to try different flavors. So that's when the idea came up. Oh, it's a mousse bar. That's the concept, and it came right at the show.
Roger,
and, Pat, I think you have a question.
Well, it's kind of a half serious question. Chocolate mousse is so the superior mousse flavor. What's the point of even messing around with other flavors? The dark chocolate is fantastic.
Yeah, Pat said, that chocolate, the dark chocolate is so good. Why mess with other flavors?
Well, we want people to give different options, because some people like sweet, some people like fruity, some people like a little bit nutty. So we have matcha, hazelnut, dark, and passion fruits.
Right. And Pat, listen, you probably noticed we're all using these gold spoons.
Mm-hmm.
And the tradition in Belgium is when you die, if you go to heaven, you will spend eternity eating delicious desserts with a gold spoon. That's pretty good.
And we gotta have it. That's right. Roger, thank you for arranging for the chocolate. Man, I tried that.
You took your whole thing down almost. You like that?
I did. Yeah.
The passion fruit is surprising in such a good way.
We'll take a short break. We'll finish our mousse. We'll come back with today's top stories. This is Morning Someone.
So we're gonna use some heavy cream. Voila. Put the machine on.
Johan Hausberger begins a delicious process, something he's been doing since he was 8 years old in Belgium using his grandfather's recipe, making the dessert called mousse.
The mousse is a very fluffy texture. It's not pudding, it's not ice cream. It's very fluffy, airy, and well-balanced dessert.
2 years ago, Hausberger, a trained chef, and wife Jacqueline Quiroz opened what they believe is the first mousse bar in the whole country. MOJO Desserts on 100th Street near Lexington Avenue in East Harlem, the same neighborhood where they live with their 2 kids. Hausberger came to the U.S. 11 years ago to work for the Belgian ambassador to the UN, where he made lunches, dinners, and desserts.
And coming from Belgium, of course, a dessert with chocolate would be really appreciated. So I started making chocolate mousse, and people loved it so much that every time they would come back for a lunch or a dinner, they say, like, "Is going to be chocolate mousse for dessert?"
They started selling at small events and parties, then expanded. It's available in around 300 retail stores and right here with flavors like dark and white chocolate, hazelnut, passion fruit, and matcha. They opened the shop in February 2020, 5 weeks before the COVID shutdown. They survived by offering up a comfort food menu for delivery, an online store, and bringing coffee and, of course, mousse to staff at local hospitals.
We created this campaign, and from there, we donated over 10,000 mousse cups and coffees to not only our surrounding hospitals, but also all throughout the city.
Last July, MOJO added some Brazilian to its Belgian flair. Quiroz is from Brazil, opening a cocktail bar connected to the mousse bar.
Hazelnut next.
Try the hazelnut next.
They weren't about to let me leave without trying some mousse. I sampled all 5 flavors, just to cover my bases. Manhattan, Roger Clark, New York 1.